All right, back again. Another episode.
Yep.
Another
episode 33,
Yeah.
October 9th.
Yes, for
How
sure.
you doing, partner?
Not so good after last night's Yankee game. Not so good at all.
Well, why don't we start off with that since that's happening tonight. So I think people are panicking here.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'm
I feel pretty
awful.
confident with CC taking the ball. But one thing I even think, and I've been on board with Aaron Boone, but sitting Andujar down and McCutchen in favor of Neil Walker and Brett Gardner, I think is a desperate move, and it could backfire and ruin a good start for CC.
Well, the thing I would say about that is I know why he did it. I was thinking he was going to do that because I read something that CC gets a lot of ground balls to third, and it's like double the percentage of any of the other Yankee starters. So, he's going to face a lot. He's going to face a lot of righty hitters, and he's not, he doesn't have the velocity he once had. So hitters are going to be out in front. So a lot of ground.
You're taking out probably the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Who played all season against right-handed pitching and hit almost 330 home runs, and putting a guy that barely hit 220 and isn't a regular third baseman. So I think it's a desperate move. I really do.
Well, what I would have done is, if you want Walker in, fine. On third, you want Walker in at third, fine. Put him in. Stanton goes to left then, and you sacrifice defense in left instead of third, and Andujar is the DH for the night. That's what I would have did, because I don't see it. I'm not desperate to see McCutchen or Gardner in the game. I don't think either of them are must-haves. And Stanton actually has been hitting, and you need his bat. And he's not terrible in the outfield. He's not a good defender, but he's not terrible out there. He's no better than McCutchen, no worse than McCutchen.
No, I think he's not a bad fielder. And
yeah,
listen, I agree with I like Gardner's glove, but he hasn't had a hit in 2 months.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't need to see Gardner out there. So I would have did that. I would have said Stanton go out to left, and Andujar's bat stays in the lineup and he's DH, and you don't have to worry about defense. And you know what? If CC's getting the ground balls like he should, then Stanton may not have that many chances out there. So that's what I would have did. I
wouldn't have sat Andujar. I wouldn't have taken his bat out of the lineup. Not the rookie of the year. I think that's a
DH him. That's what I would have did.
Yeah,
so
that would have been a move I could live with, because listen, Sabathia is a big time pitcher, and I expect him to. I mean, look, he's not going more than 4 or 5 innings, and we know that, but
yeah,
I think this is a desperate move, and I think it could backfire on him.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you know what? In the wild card game, he made some moves I didn't agree with, and they all worked. So we'll see. We'll see what he does as far as this.
And I'm not putting so much credence, Dougie, in that they lost 16-1. Okay, yeah, they got racked, and Boston just hit the ball all night long.
Yeah.
Yankees still scored 1 run. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Off of Eovaldi, oh my God, how is this guy? I don't get it. He was nothing for us. He was nothing for the Yankees. He was an afterthought, and now he every time we face him, he shuts us down.
Right, and he pitched a gem last night. So I mean, forget the score. It might as well have been 2-1 because we weren't going to win that game anyway. Not scoring 1 run, and the Yankees, they don't win many 1-run games in scoring 1 run. So
yeah, no, definitely not. Another thing with that game, I was the crowd really. I was there, and the crowd really wanted to explode, and they were just waiting for any little thing to happen to go nuts. And I the fact that the crowd was just not a factor in that game, and they didn't get to the late innings close. I feel like they let us down, and it was. They any little thing, even Didi beating out the ball the first, anything that they could get behind, that they were ready to explode. And by the time it was the 5th inning, people were falling asleep. It was
because they weren't hitting the ball. That's why. I mean,
yeah. I know.
I've never been a guy that says the crowd is a factor in how professional athletes perform. I know it's good and so forth. listen, even if we take the game tonight, I don't think we take Game 5 in Boston. Boston is brutal at home. They destroy everybody. I mean,
yeah. Especially the one that when you know we gotta face Sale, and that guy has been, we never hit him. We never get hits off of him, and it's got to change at some point. But I just don't know if it'll be Game 5 of the ALDS. But that's what we got. That's the road we got to take. You know what? That was the same thing last year with Kluber, and we were able to hit him. And Keuchel last year, we conquered him. The guy that shut us down all those years, we got to him. So you know what? We got to find a way. That's it.
Well, listen, I don't think, like I said, I've always told you, I think Boston is just loaded, but I think the Astros too.
Yeah,
they're a solid team.
To be quite honest,
I think the better matchup would be the Red Sox versus the Astros anyway.
I don't think either of us is beating them. I really don't. I don't think either of us is beating them. They look really locked in.
They sure do.
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. The Astros look like a train, and they got pitching all lined up, and they're resting, and they have no injuries, and they got all their guys back and healthy. They're hitting the ball well. So that's for that series. I mean, Indians were kind of lackluster this season, but I still thought they had a shot because they have a good manager and they have good pitching. And but I kind of just said, you know what, they weren't in a good division, so they kind of packed it in. So that's why they weren't up there with like 100 wins like the Yankees and Red Sox and Astros were. But they just didn't show me anything there.
No, they didn't. And listen, I think the two best teams are in the National League Championship Series, the Brewers and Dodgers. And my take, that could be that's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. But I got to give the edge to the Brewers. I mean, they just seem like they're up and down the lineup, and the Dodgers sometimes are a hit or miss team. So what are your thoughts there?
Could you repeat the last thing you said? The Dodgers and Brewers going head to head?
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Everyone's gonna pick the Dodgers for obvious reasons. They're loaded, and they.
I'm going with the Brewers here.
Me too. I think I'm a firm believer in a team of destiny, and I just feel like they have that it factor that the Astros had last year, where they kind of just find themselves in these close games, and they just find a way to kind of break through. They did it. Obviously the last game was a blowout, but the other two games in Miller Park were close, and they kind of just find a way to get that big hit or find a way to, get out of the jam without, giving up the lead. And they did it against the Cubs, and they did it against the Cubs, and they did it against the Rockies in those first couple games. And I know the thing is their pitching is just not that good. And they never rounded out that rotation, so they're kind of making do with patchwork guys for some starts, but they're just finding a way. So I see a team that's doing that, and they're finding a way to win, and they're winning on the road in hostile environments. I tend to lean towards them. So I'll say the Brewers in 7 for that series.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I agree with you. They don't have the solid, Houston pitching staff kind of thing, but this kid Yelich and all these other kids seem to start coming through. And, the Dodgers have Kershaw, obviously, and, I think the Brewers can sneak past them with middle-of-the-road pitcher, because I don't think the Dodgers lineup is that dynamic, that they could, afford to, give a couple of games away without Kershaw. Kershaw will pitch 2 games, and he's a stud, no question about it.
Yeah,
that should be a good series, though. That's the right series for the National League.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be watching that. Good baseball's in a good place right now. You got a chance. The Yankees at home with a chance to force Game 5, and then you got no matter what, Yankees or Red Sox advance, you'll have a great series against Houston there. And then, on the other side, you got the dominant team that's looking to win a World Series, Dodgers, and you got the upstart Brewers that are kind of young and they've never been there before, but they're making their way. So baseball's in a good spot right now. But as a Yankee fan, I just got to get through tonight. All hands on deck in the bullpen. I don't care who you bring in. Everybody should be available except Severino, and just find a way to get it done. I'm surprised Boston didn't put Holt in the lineup tonight. I know it's righty on, or I know it's a lefty on a lefty, but the way he was hitting the ball, man, I wouldn't have took him out.
Well, I don't consider him hitting a home run to get the cycle off Austin Romine as hitting for the cycle, but
I mean, besides that though, he had put up some good at bats together against Severino and the other guys. I mean, he had the home run, but they haven't gotten that production out of Kinsler, not even close. So I'm surprised they sat him. I'm happy they did, but I'm surprised.
Well, we'll see how it goes, but I think CC. I've always loved him. He's a big game pitcher, and I think he'll give us 4 or 5, solid innings, and we'll see. But I don't think they're getting out of Boston alive. So either way.
You're probably right.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the NFL. All right. Couple of things. Obviously. We might as well start with the Giants because, I think we even know that this season is over. The only bright spot on that whole team is Barkley. And, to lose on a 63-yard field goal, obviously that's rare and it doesn't happen. But to even allow it to get to that point, they just don't have it together. And I'm not blaming Eli. And Barkley puts up decent numbers, but they're not blocking for him either. I mean, he had probably eight rushes for lost negative yardage because nobody's blocking. Nobody.
Yeah, they don't run block at all. Eli had his share of mistakes too. He did come up big in the end though, as he always does. So I'll definitely won't fault him for that. I'm kind of just sick of the offensive line excuse. Because I just hear it every game, and it's every game they don't block, and they don't. It's been like that for 5 years, but we're the only team that literally can't run an offense. We can't run an offense because our line's bad. There's other teams with bad lines, and we
finally got it. We finally got a back that's so dynamic, and he can't even get out of the backfield.
That's why I don't think we should have drafted him. Because he was a waste of
No. I'm telling you, we're never going to regret drafting this kid. He's a stud, but I don't put any blame on him. I mean,
I'm not. The blame is not on him. The blame is on we drafted him and we're not ready for him to produce.
Right, but we got him, and like I said, we can get a quarterback in the next draft. We'll see.
I know, but I hate seeing it every week, and the win now. And all that stuff that we heard in the off season, I'm getting very sick of it. And the whole Odell thing, like I'm just sick of that. He just signs a contract, and then 2 weeks later he's on ESPN already saying he doesn't know if he wants to stay here. If you didn't know you didn't want to stay here, then why did you sign a 5-year contract to stay?
I know. I'm tired of that too. I know he's good and he's dynamic and all that, but he is a distraction. And I would have sent him packing after he did those stupid end zone things last year or the year before. I don't even remember anymore. It's out of control.
Yeah.
I'm also getting a little tired of hearing, about the Browns. Listen, Mayfield he's better than I actually expected, and I think he's the right. But there's still Hugh Jackson as the coach. And they want to put these guys in the Super Bowl because they won 2 games over the past 3 seasons?
I don't think anyone's putting them in the Super Bowl. Mayfield's great. Mayfield's really good. He puts the ball on the money every time. He's really good.
He surprised me, actually. I wouldn't have taken him with the first pick, but I wouldn't have taken Darnold with the first pick either. But
I mean, Darnold's getting better too. I mean, you got to give these guys a chance. Move to get. Allen looks good. They all kind of have their little different situations, and they have different things that they do well. But the Browns, I don't think Hugh Jackson's going to be there for long, because they kind of win despite him, because he makes a lot of bad coaching decisions.
Oh, he's the worst coach in the league. There's no question about it.
He makes a lot of bad. Like I watched a lot of that game. They had a replay the other night, and I watched it, and he just makes some terrible coaching, like his clock management and just like the mistakes that his team makes, like there's no, it just has to come back to coaching. Like just taking an example, for example, in overtime, Jarvis Landry's running along the sideline, and he needs to get out of bounds. They have one timeout left. He needs to get out of bounds. Instead of getting out of bounds, he fights for one more yard and gets tackled inbounds. Then they got to run up and spike the ball. Then it's second down. They're still not in field goal range. It's just like little things like that don't get conveyed that can fall back on the coach. It's just not. I mean, I could have been just Jarvis Landry being a bonehead, but that mistakes like that happen all the time. Like the Browns should have won every game. They should have won.
Right, but I think the Browns are on the right track, and I think
they are.
Like
they
I said, Mayfield's better than I thought, but you're right. They got to cut ways with this Hugh Jackson.
They should have won every game this year.
Mayfield a coach, and give him a coach that he could work with for the next 5 years, and because Hugh Jackson, he's got to go. He's got to go. He's going to ruin this guy. I mean, we've seen good quarterbacks. Rex Ryan, he ruined Mark Sanchez. I mean, we've seen this. Sam White's ruined. Who was the quarterback he had about 20 years ago? I remember. I can't remember, but.
Not Boomer. Anderson, right?
No, it was after that. It was after Esiason. I can't remember. I met him at a golf outing one day, and it was Trent Dilfer. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Not on the Bengals. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So listen. So there's good stuff, and I do think this could happen. And I know I thought about it as soon as I saw that Ajayi got, he blew his knee out. I think the Steelers, and I've told you, I would not let this guy back in the door. I would trade him to Philadelphia and get what you can for him.
They're desperate. That's definitely what could happen. Bell or McCoy. McCoy is on the Bills, kind of just on a losing team. So
yeah, but McCoy is not. I think his better days are behind him anyway.
They are, but it would just be interesting to see him go back there after all that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Bell, that was the first thing I thought when I saw Jai go down, and I was just hoping that they didn't make the trade for Bell before they played the Giants.
Right, Steelers have the upper hand here, so they were talking that they could only get a third round for Bell because he's unsigned.
Maybe not. Definitely, maybe not. I don't know if they have the cap room and stuff, but because he's going to obviously have a big number, but. That would be definitely a move that I could see happening. I just don't know if Pittsburgh. I don't know if that signals that Pittsburgh's giving up on the season, or they just don't want him. Because
I think
their replacement's doing well.
I think Pittsburgh can win without him. I do. I think Connors is adequate enough that the focus is Roethlisberger, and I think they could win without him. And listen, if they come out with I think they could even hold Philadelphia hostage for a number 1 pick this time. So I think it would be a move worth making because, like I said, that guy, to me, in Pittsburgh, I certainly the team doesn't want him back, and I wouldn't let him back. So I would deal him.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it is, it might be just good for them to just cut bait.
Well, we'll see. So the NFL, like I said, that's starting to heat up. Teams will start separating. So last week, Jim, 3-0.
Oh, okay. All right, let me look what I had.
I got your picks from last week.
All right, what was it? What'd I get?
You had 2 out of 3. You had New England.
Okay.
You had Carolina. Which we both kind of got. We got Graham Gano to thank for that, but
yeah, sure. And Odell letting the ball bounce off his leg.
Right, and you had Denver actually.
Oh yeah, damn. Yeah, I know. I had a feeling that was my third one.
They were terrible.
They laid an egg, man. Oh. I should have known. West Coast. I knew why that line was fishy. I probably made a comment about that. The line was fishy because the Jets were favored, and I was wondering how the hell they were favored. But I should have known, as a veteran gambler and someone that watched the NFL, West Coast team coming east, never a good recipe.
Yeah, and Denver's 1-10 on the road in their last 11 road games. I mean,
oh God, yeah, they can't win on the road. So yeah, let's say that. Let's agree on that one. That one, I missed on that for sure. I definitely messed that up. But
all right. So listen, why don't we cover our? Huh?
2 out of 3 is better than I've been doing.
Hey, no, that's not bad. It's not 3 out of 3, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as they say. You know?
Okay,
so,
all right.
Here, I'll give you my picks for next week. You know, and I'm taking Tampa Bay's at Atlanta. I think I'm taking Atlanta. They got to bounce back. They're a better team than Tampa Bay, and I think Tampa Bay is going to start to come undone. So
they pretty much need that game at Atlanta.
Yeah, they need it. They need it. Buffalo, even though I had them last week as my upset team.
Okay.
They're at Houston, and even though I don't think much of Houston, and I really like Josh Allen a lot, I think that's going to be tough for them to win on the road. So I'm taking Houston. And my third game is the Niners at Green Bay. And, you know, I think obviously Green Bay needs the game. And San Francisco, to me, doesn't have much at all. So
there's San Fran's packing it in.
Yeah, that should be an easy game. So those are my 3 picks. What do you got?
Okay. All right. I got 2 underdogs and a favorite. So I'm going to go out on a limb on a couple of these. We got KC at New England, all right? That's the night game on Sunday. That's a wonderful game. New England's favored by 3.5, but I think Kansas City wins that game outright. So, I mean, I'm not exactly going out on a limb picking a 5-0 team to go 6-0. But, you know, it's Tom Brady at home. That's tough to beat. So, I would say I think Kansas City can't be stopped offensively. I haven't seen much from the Patriots defense. You know, they were able to hold Miami to 7, okay, but they let Andrew Luck go up and down the field. They let, Detroit go up and down the field. I see Kansas City going up and down the field as well. So
yeah, and like I said, I'm not ready to. I agree with you that the New England's defense is a little vulnerable, and obviously Mahomes is having an MVP year. I'm just not ready to say that Brady alone can't carry that team. So I don't think it's a reach for you, and I got you down for Kansas City, but I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying Brady can't carry him, but I just don't. I think he could easily score 35 points, but I don't see Kansas City not scoring 40. I just don't. I think they're going to put up points, man. I really do. So put me down for KC for the first game.
Okay.
All right. My other. Here's my favorite. Where is it? Okay. So I got. I was just. Last Sunday night I watched the Dallas and Houston game, and it was just I don't know why Chris Collins. Did you watch that game?
It was torture. I could barely even get through it.
Chris Collinsworth loved it though for some reason. He kept going on and on about how this is such a well played game and this and that, and I don't know what he was watching. If I haven't watched Dallas's offense go to work anymore, they might be the most boring offensive team I've ever seen. They're more boring than the Giants.
That's exactly what I was saying. It was a horrible game to get through.
Oh my God! It's just I can't watch it. And now they're going to play a team just as unimaginative as them, Jacksonville. But the only problem is Jacksonville's defense is elite, and I don't see them giving an inch against Dallas. It's going to be low scoring. It might even be like 13-3. But I got Jacksonville at Dallas. Jacksonville winning that game.
Okay, gotcha.
So my third game, I'm going real out on a limb here. I think the Giants take care of Philly this week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
You're thinking you're coming from your heart, not your head, kid.
Let me just lay it out. I think they finally found the formula last week, late in the game. They finally found the formula. Eli realized kind of he has to start taking some chances for this to work out. He can't sit back there and, his line, it's not his fault, but his line's not going to allow him to sit back there and kind of, look over the defense and make the safe play. He's got to take some chances. Fortunately for him, he has 2 superstars on his team that he can take chances with. I liked where they're at. I didn't like what I saw from Philadelphia's defense last week. Minnesota kind of just going up and down the field on them. Ajayi is hurt, as we talked about. So I don't think that offense is going to be fully in sync against us. So I'm going to go with the Giants. I think the Giants narrowly win, maybe like 23-20, but they get it done at the Meadowlands on Thursday. So that's my pick.
No, I think they're in Philly, actually.
No, Giants are home.
Giants are home? Oh,
yep.
All right.
Giants are home. So Giants, KC, and Jacksonville.
All right. And listen, before we go off on our picks here, we talked about this. Some of these ridiculous calls. I mean, it finally crossed the line. They called this guy on Philadelphia, Michael Bennett, on roughing on Kirk Cousins. I mean, I've seen harder tackles in flag football. I mean, it was ridiculous beyond belief.
It really was. And I'm no Eagle fan, trust me, and I don't even like Bennett really, but he got robbed on that. He's a good player, and he got robbed on that. The fact that they called that. All he did was grab a guy around the feet. Right? He grabbed a guy around the legs and took him down.
I don't even understand it. I mean, I know the league's trying to protect the quarterback, but this guy, this the worst call of the season.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Right? The Landon Collins call wasn't much better either.
I think they made a mistake. I think they called it on Collins. I think they called it. It should have been called on 31. I think he's the one that went at him with the head. But either way, I don't think either one of them should have drawn a flag either. So
no, they were. It seemed like they were both kind of going for the ball. I didn't think 31 would be the one that. I agree that he would be the one that would be the culprit if anybody. But they were both kind of just going for the ball. I don't know. It was just,
that was horrible. That was horrible.
Tough. That's tough. That was a tough situation. Tough. Probably cost us the game, that call, to be honest.
Right. So let's move to college real quick because you know there wasn't really much of a shakeup other than LSU losing to Florida, which was quite a surprise, and that kind of threw a monkey wrench certainly into the top 5. But
yeah, no surprise to me though. I picked Florida.
Wow.
I bet on Florida, so I had a little hunch. Not that it's documented or anything, but I'll just throw it out there.
No, that's all right, but I wouldn't have put money on Florida for that. I mean, I thought LSU was really a solid team.
They are. They're good. I think Florida's a tough place to play, and that defense is for real. They have a lot of guys on that team. Yeah, it was kind of a ho-hum week. You know, I had Notre Dame. I went out to watch the Yankee game that night, and I was watching Notre Dame side by side. So I watched a lot of that game, and they look good too. You know, Virginia Tech's a tough place to play, and the defense, you know, was early on was working for them, but Notre Dame kind of broke through with some runs. They look very good, Notre Dame. They made the switch to quarterback.
Oh, listen, that switch was solid. This kid Book. I mean, I was a little surprised by it. I mean, I like I told you, I thought Winbush was a pretty solid player, and I think they'll still find a way to get him to touch the ball. But going with Book was a smart move. Probably saved Kelly's job because
possibly end the season because they look like they're going to head to the playoff now.
Yep, I agree.
They do. They look like they're going to head in.
So the only games, and I don't expect much shake-up this week. There's only a couple that I see that. And I know, Penn State's 8, and they're playing Michigan State. Michigan State is a surprise team. They get beat up sometimes, but they win some big games. I think that's the only one that has a possibility for potential upset. Even though Penn State looked really good against Ohio State, I wouldn't touch that game at all. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them get knocked off by Michigan State. I mean, that's Big Ten football, and things can happen. So.
Oh yeah, there's always shakeups when it comes to that. Isn't there? I thought LSU was playing Georgia. Yeah, they are. LSU. I mean, LSU obviously took the loss last week, but they're still, up there in the rankings, and they're hosting Georgia. So that's a game to keep an eye on there at 3:30.
Yeah, that could be. I'm not overly impressed with Georgia yet, and especially now that I know it's on LSU's field. I think they could bounce back. That wouldn't surprise me for LSU to beat Georgia. And the only other intriguing game, which, it's Wisconsin and Michigan, and I'm still not sold on Michigan at all. But, I don't think Taylor's having the year he had last year for Wisconsin. So I'm not sure. That's kind of a toss-up for me. What would you think?
Well, I would obviously lean Michigan because they're home. They're kind of yet to be tested, really, since the Notre Dame game. They haven't played anybody that good.
Well, I know, but Northwestern gave them hell at home.
Yeah, exactly, so. And I wasn't very impressed when I saw that. I'll lean Michigan towards that. I wouldn't like you say. I wouldn't touch that game. Betting wise, but I think it'll be a close, good game. The two teams that know how to obviously establish the run. They have pro-style offenses. They're going to play good defense. So, if you like scoring, this might not be your best bet as far as watching, college football. There's other teams you can watch for that. I
think as far as the top 25 go, I think that's probably the most competitive game. Obviously, I don't see anybody touching Alabama. No matter what happens, but.
No.
That's an interesting game to me. I like that kind of matchup, 15 versus 12.
Yeah, good game, definitely. I'll be looking forward to that. I don't want to. It's kind of out of season now, but to go back to the golf. Real quick before we go, I want to bring in stuff. So Furyk came out and made some comments about the turmoil that happened.
With who? Koepka and Johnson.
Koepka and Johnson, and then the thing with Patrick Reed saying he didn't want to play with Tiger, and then someone else came out and said that he begged to play with Tiger. So I just want to know what your thoughts were, kind of coming out of that. After all, I know we talked about it in the aftermath, but the quotes have been coming out kind of a week later.
Well, I could see Reed making a stink. I just think they're blowing out this Koepka and Johnson thing. I don't take much credibility in that one, but I can't see Reed going off and saying, he's questioning, but he still didn't make the putts and didn't do what he was supposed to do. So I don't know. I mean, they're just looking for excuses when I think they just got spanked over there. They just got spanked.
And I understand it really because it's kind of like a mental thing, but I think the who you're playing with is kind of overblown a little bit, especially when they're playing 4-ball.
Oh, I totally agree. That's why I'm a little surprised.
Make your shots. Right. Make a good golf shot. When you're playing, there's one thing when Tiger and Reed were playing, or Tiger and DeChambeau were playing 4-ball or foursomes. They were alternate shot and all that. And that's one thing. A player can really screw you over there, and I'll understand that. But they were playing 4 balls. Tiger and Reed. That's not that big. It's still your responsibility to play the hole your way. It's not standing in anybody's way. So it's important, but it's getting a little blown out of proportion because you got to. In the end of the day, you got to win your singles match, and a lot of it is going to be playing your own shot.
That's right. So, I agree with you 100%. I think they're just looking for excuses, and like I said, they clearly got beat over there by the Europeans. So it's a dead issue until 2 years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Europeans really kind of played to their advantages too. And you heard Phil talk about it a little bit, Phil was saying he would rather have not played than play a course like that because if you can't, as well as I do, Phil is not going to hit. Phil's not going to hit his driver in the fairway. He's just not going to do it.
Right.
And he wants to scramble and be able to make shots from the rough, and still find a way to make his birdies. That's what he does.
But then you got to hang Furyk for that pick. Then I mean, and I know you were big on Mickelson, but I think it came down to the course, and you're right. He's a bomber. He's a long hitter, but that's not the kind of course you were playing. This wasn't Bethpage.
The fairways were very narrow, and the Europeans who were kind of more precision, and they may not have besides Rory's going to hit him out there, but Fleetwood and Molinari and the guys that came through Poulter, those guys are just very very accurate. They're not going to hit hit the ball. They're not going to out hit Koepka or DJ, but they're going to be more accurate. And that course didn't play to that at all. And if you ended up in the rough, you were screwed. How many times did you see guys having to just kind of punch out from there? That Phil included. So Phil was saying, he's like, look, that course was not conducive to my strength. He said if there was a tournament there, he wouldn't play in that tournament.
Well, then you got to hang that on Furyk for the pick then, because I think that had to come into play, and that's actually a good call by you. I didn't even think of that. I just thought he picked Mickelson for the experience, but now that you mention it, you're right. He's done putting the ball in the fairway on every hole like these other guys, and Koepka and Johnson, they're bombers, but they can also find the fairway too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Good
And
call.
it's unfortunate, and you know what? In the end, they just didn't play that well, and that's what you got to, golf's golf.
Yeah, golf is golf.
It's one round, one hole to the next, one shot to the next. Everything can change.
Yeah.
So,
Well, listen. Let's real quick. I want to touch on. Like I said, this high school football. It's just as intense as college. I mean, St. Joe's finally they moved up to number 1 after DePaul beat Bergen Catholic the week before. Bergen dropped to 4, and then Bergen came to St. Joe's and they beat us. So. You just can't. You can't keep. Number 1 team has got a target on their head week after week, and St. Joe's has got to play Don Bosco this week, so there's no rest for the weary. Even though Bosco's having an off year, but
right.
I mean, really, the talent level of this guy. And I got to give it. Even the coach of St. Joe's, Augie Hoffman, said they were out-coached, and that's saying something. That's saying something coming from the other coach.
Yeah, you know what? You can. At least the coach can admit he was. That's the first step.
But it's really exciting. How are your Spartans doing?
Sparta 6-0. Or no, Sparta not. They lost one. They're facing 6-0 Randolph this week. So supposedly this is a big game for them. I had never heard Randolph being that good.
Years ago they were pretty good. Years ago.
I know they had the one quarterback who got drafted, and he still plays somewhere in Canada. But they had the one guy, and but I haven't heard of them being good in years. But supposedly, hey, they're playing Randolph this week, 6-0. I think it's at Randolph, so that's gonna be a test, I guess. So we'll see how I'll give you an update on how they hold up on that game.
Oh, no, but it's been really great watching the talent level with these, the top 10 teams in New Jersey. It's been kind of awesome.
So who do you guys have this week?
We're playing Bosco Friday night.
Bosco. You're going?
Yeah, absolutely.
Making sure now. Making sure. All right.
Yeah.
So all right. So
one last quick thing, and I know this is more in line with you than it is with me, because I told you I don't watch this stuff, but this UFC thing.
Oh, I'm all over that. Yeah, you want to talk?
I know, but they're trying to make this like pro wrestling, though. I mean,
Oh God, I don't know what the deal was. Well, I do know what the deal was. I know all about it. McGregor was kind of trying to sell the fight, and I think he just went too far. And he started talking about this guy's religion, talking about his father, talking about his country, and this guy is Khabib. He's a Russian, and I don't know. He has a screw loose, or I don't know what it is, but he took it very, 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 very personally. And after he beat McGregor, he just went off and jumped out into the stands and went after guys on McGregor's team. Someone else that he had beef with, I guess. And it was just a melee. And McGregor, this guy's a machine. He really is. And he's imagine Ivan Drago as a UFC fighter.
It's just too brutal for me. And like I said, I know it's a business. I think this whole thing was staged, and I think it actually goes back to, because it was Khabib's bus that McGregor threw that thing through when he got arrested. So I admit it. It's brutal. It's almost too brutal for me. I barely watch boxing anymore except the big fights, but I certainly wouldn't pay $70 to see that sideshow again.
Neither would I. I watch it for free.
Yeah.
I don't pay paying those prices. Yeah, I love UFC. I'm a big fan of it. I understand why people aren't. It's kind of has to be your thing. Same way
it's
football,
too
baseball.
barbaric for me. It's too barbaric. It's over the top. I'm not a prude when it comes to that stuff, but this stuff, it's just over the top barbaric. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right. Shout out to the sponsors.
Yep. I'd say
ahead.
hi to our sponsors, Harley Davidson of Utica, and they've been quite consistent with us in supporting our show, as well as Lynch Toyota from Manchester, Connecticut, and we thank you. And anybody else wants to be a sponsor, just let us know. Doug, give us the email, and we look forward to questions.
DoingDougShow@gmail. Still waiting. If anybody wants to chime in, I know you're listening out there. Yeah, you want a topic, something we want us to elaborate on, let me know. But besides that, we're good to go. So
it's been great. But we got 33 episodes, so let's enjoy it, and we look forward to episode 34 next week, and we'll have a lot to talk about then.
Yes. All right.
All right, partner. Thanks.
All right.
Be good.